Parasha Lecha Tavshin Pegimo. Avraham Chaim Ben Yudaleib.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I got it the right way. And for Shalem, for Shalem, Hashem David, Tzvi, and Sarah, for Shalem, Hashem Yisrael, and Sultan. Okay, difficult here. Not difficult in terms of difficult to give out this year, but the depth is basically going to try to go very smooth, send the message we have to get, and I'm going to live. I'm not going to bring the usual number of the Gemaras, Midrashim, and everything. We can't get lost. We have to keep on track. And B'ez Hashem, if you feel you at any time you get lost or whatever, just open your microphone and let me know. And the big siyata d'shmaya here to handle it the right way. Okay, some of you know, like Jeff already knows, some of the questions, so it's gonna make an easy start. But trust me, the landing is gonna be. As Hashem, we're gonna have siyata d'shmaya, and we're gonna be able to land safely, easily, and pass on the right message from Abraham Avinu all the way to here. Let's start with the pasuk. Okay, the Parasha starts, Vayomer Hashem el Avram, lech lech. You realize there's no picture, there's no colors this week, there's nothing. I'm not going into Digduk. We have enough difficulties without it. Lech lecha me'atzecha, leave your land, u'meilatecha, and leave your place of birth, u'mibeis avicha, and the house of your father, el ha'aretz asher ha'eka, to the land that I will show you. That's it. That's the whole share today. And I'm going to leave some out. Hashem tells Abraham, you know what? You need to leave. And everybody looks at it. This is a test, one of the tough tests of Abraham. Abraham is barren. Abraham has no children. The Gemara in Nedarim Samech Dalet Amud Aleph says that someone without children is considered dead. Hashem promised him children. Obviously, someone who has no children is dead, or someone is paralyzed. You tell him, look, do this, and you're going to be able to get up from your chair. You know what would be the answer. What's the test here? Then the psukim go on, and the promises of being wealthy, extremely wealthy, well-known, being a blessing, make it easier. Come on, sweet it in. Give it to anyone here. Anyone around in this year. Give it to them. They will go. Blindly, they will go. So why is it considered an Isaiah? Besides, Abraham Avinu was no longer living in his place of birth or Kasdim. He had left already. Nimrod, as we're going to see a little bit later, the history, Nimrod was pursuing him, wanted to try to kill him. So he left. He was where? In Haran. Haran is not his land, is not his place of birth, and is not the house of his father. As we're going to see later, he was already 40 years old. He had his own house. He had everything. So all the languages here are completely wrong in the passage. Besides that, when someone leaves, he starts living from his house, then he leaves his city, place of birth, then he leaves his land. Why is it the opposite way? You see, the Pasuk did something here intentionally to point us that something is wrong here. El ha'aretz asher eka, to the land I will show you. Abraham knows that land. Abraham has been twice already in Eretz Israel. Actually, at the end of Parshas Noach, the Pasuk says clearly that Terach took his family to leave, to go where? To Eretz Canaan. Just it seems that the land was the Rishonim say, explained that the land, when they passed Haran, was so, they call it shaman, fat, meaning that it was producing so well that they decided to stay in Haran. Otherwise, they were on the way to Eretz Canaan. What's the big deal with this Eretz Canaan here? This is a big machloikes, and I just took one side between the Midrash Rabbah, the Tanaim in the Midrash Rabbah, and the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, Abba is the Rabbi Nassan, and the Midrash Shoicha, how to count the 10 tests of Avraham. I'm sorry. I don't know. No, I'm not. How to count them. One thing they all agree upon is the first one is Or Kasdim. Nimrod wanted to kill Avram. That's the first test. The second test, he threw him in the fire, in the furnace. It's always interesting. Whenever you want to see if you're right or not in Torah, the beginning and the end are the same. They try to kill Abraham, Akedas Yitzchak. It's a concept of not chiloso. It's always a circle like Earth. The beginning and the end collide. And you're always going to find explanation of the end in the beginning and explanation of the beginning in the end. So anyway, let's go back here. So the first one is Nimrod. Second one is thrown in the furnace. Here's where we start our Parasha. The third one, Galus. We already asked the question. It's not a Galus. You promise him a palace, whatever you promise, the Pasuk promises to Avram. It's not considered a Galus. A Galus, it means you're in exile. You don't know where you're going. It's a strange place. It's a strange thing. But here, Avram, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised you everything already. When we start, it seems very, very mind-boggling. Very mind-boggling that we haven't started with the number one and the number two. A 40-year-old person can make a decision. Depending if we're going to go with the Midrash Rabbah say that he was 3 years old, Abraham, at the time he was thrown in the furnace, or he was 13 years old. Makes no difference. He was a kid. And we're going to see what he said to Nimrod. And I can't bring everything. If you see, the number of midrashim on this, we can spend a lifetime on this parsha. And why everybody's taking, this aspect, the other aspect. So I'm going to try to hand it out in a pretty straightforward manner. Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer enumerates the 10, as we mentioned here, the 10, and explains them, Nisyonis of Avraham Avinu. And he says that the night Avraham was born, so Terach was a general in the army of of Nimrod. He was a general. So out of respect, the ministers, and the royal court, they went to to pay the tribute, to Terach, because the night before they used to have a meal. The Vachnach, they used to do it. And when they came out after the meal, there was a super shining star eating other stars. And they look at it and say, this is abnormal. We've never seen that. So they called the magician. They said, what's going on here? They told him that kid is the big star. And he's eating. You see that star next to him that is eating up? It's Nimrod. It's our king. This is foretelling that Abraham and his descendant will decimate Nimrod and his descendants. Does it tell you about Walt Disney, that they made a thing out of it? Every movie Walt Disney makes is part of the Midrash. You have to know that. So right away, Nimrod, they told Nimrod, and Nimrod went to Terach and says, you know what, you have to sell me the baby and everything. And, I'll give you another one if you want one of mine. I'll give it to you. And so forth. Says Terach, it's just born, it's my boy, my first boy. He had a boy before, but how can I give it to you? And Nimrod insisted so much that he saw Terach that his own life was in danger. So he says, give me 3 days. I'm going to talk to the mother and try to convince her. Come after 3 days, I will hand you out the baby. 3 days pass. Soldiers come to his door. Where is the baby? He takes the baby, gives him to the soldiers. Give him to the soldiers. They come to Nimrod. Nimrod take him from the feet. Was a big rock. Took him, boom, slammed the head, killed. He's happy. He's making a party. The only thing he didn't know, that Terach gave him the son of a servant that was born the same day. And from that day on, which is not even a week after Abraham was born, they made a cave on the ground, and he was there again, according to the Midrash, for 3 years. According to the Pikei Rabbi Eliezer, which is the Rebbe of Rabbi Akiva, he was there for 13 years. He hasn't seen the sun or the moon. No, the lie. He was living there, and when he came out, he was speaking Lashon HaKodesh and everything. This is the preamble of what happened to Avraham Avinu. But then he has a dream, Nimrod. Someone with a sword pursues him, wants to kill him, and so forth. And he talks to his I say, you know what? We killed the wrong baby, because what you're describing now is exactly that same baby we went at the meal the night before, and he's still alive. So now there's different version on the Midrashim. I'm taking here Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, and I'm going to jump right onto Tana de Eliyahu right now. From Eliyahu, so Rabbi Eliezer, I pass to Eliyahu Novi. They catch Avram. He's 13 years old, and there's a whole going back and forth between Avram and Nimrod. He tells him, bow down to the sun, which is my God. He says, no, I should go maybe to the moon, because the sun passes and the moon shines, so the moon is stronger. And so forth. This is the back and forth they're going, but now let me take it here in from Tana de Eliyahu. So he told him, according to Tana de Eliyahu, bow down before my Avodah Zarah. Avram laughed. He says, what? You call this a God? He says, you made it. Right? It was nothing, and you made it. So it can't be your maker. You are the maker. it turns the table on him. So I say, how do you want to bow down for a thing like this? So then he told him to the fire, bow down to the fire, because I revere the fire too. He says, no. Then I should bow down to the water, because the water puts off the fire, so it's stronger. It's okay, to the water. He says, no. But then to the wind, because the wind dries the water. He said, okay, fine, to the wind. And I don't remember what he told him after that. Why not do, the person, because he has the wind inside. Nimrod was being made fun in front of everybody because he wanted to make fun of Abraham, and he was made fun. He put him in jail for 10 years. So we're talking Abraham coming out, according to Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, of this jail for he was 23 years old, and still hasn't had a life, still hasn't had anything. And this is how Abraham is starting his life. And Nimrod asked him, did you change your mind? No. Okay, on the furnace, no problem. They attach him. There was a place there. They attach him in the middle. They put 500 amos of wood on each side, which is, an amma is about 2 feet divided. So 500, 200 and or 1,000 feet on each side. And they put a tremendous furnace. And they see Avraham walking, and there's trees, and they understood that Avraham, and he told him to leave because otherwise he'll kill him. So this is when Avraham left. Terach was tired after 23 years of Nimrod pursuing his son. They left to Haran. So apparently they went 17 years in Haran, and at that point he was already the king of Haran, because they saw that everything he was doing, he was blessed by Hashem, and he turned the people. Haran was the place of the dinim, was the place that when the Adam Arishon ate the fruit, all the chet went to Haran. That's why Haran equals 258, 3 times Elohim, 3 times the name of the dinim in Haran. Do you know if you remember the shir we gave on Parshas Re'eh, about the animals and everything? Why is the shechita on the throat? Because the throat is 3 times Elohim. You remember that shir based on the Ariya Kodesh? So the throat, and how do we temper, how do we remove the dinim when we do shechita? Because hashchita is 3 times Hashem Elohim, Hashem Elohim, Hashem Elohim. So we put the name of Hashem with Elohim, and this is how the dinim were tempered. And that's why Avraham was doing in Haran, to the point that everybody was serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that, in Haran. And this is when came the tzivui to leave Haran. Now, after I told you all this, which seems to you greater? The nisayon of leaving his country, leaving Haran, leaving the opulence, because now I mentioned he was a king, or what happened to him in his youth? That his whole youth was stolen away from him. His whole youth was running away from death. His whole youth was facing death at one point. How come the Torah does not mention this nisayon? Whether I take it from the Midrash, whether I take it from Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, to act like this in such a brazenness with the biggest king of earth. Nimrod was ruling all over earth. and you tell him brazenly, I'm only serving God who created the sun and the lights and earth and heavens, and you're not scared, you're not fearing, this is a tremendous thing we can learn from. Doing the right thing, saying the truth, even if it seems in your mind that it will come to hurt you, will never come to hurt you. And now we're starting this year. This is the message. This is exactly who we're going to pursue in this year with Avraham, with the two midas of emes and tzedakah. We're going to see that everything he has done, he has overcome hardships, and everything he has created and built was through these two midas. Are you telling me that with this midah of emes, yes, he spoke emes in front of Nimrod, but maybe he should have saved his life? No, because the emes was with him, because he was in public. No matter what happened to him, whatever he had said marked people. There is a real God, a living God out there. But the question remains. That's the main thing. We have a very strong question. We're talking about the Lech Lecha, which we don't even understand why it is an Isayan. And on the other hand, you know, we have a Nisayan, which is a tremendous Nisayan, and it's not even mentioned, not even hinted. Here I was quoting the Ibn Ezra because he's also asking that question, why it's not mentioned. So Machlokes Ibn Ezra and Rambam. So anyway, I'm opening just a tiny parenthesis here. Just realize that we are going to be in a cycle of 10. Avraham is always the cycle of 10. Bereshis, we failed the 10 Ma'amoris, the 9 Vayomer plus Bereshis is when the orders of HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the world to be created were destroyed by Adam Arishan when he ate from the Eitz Hadas. There were 10 generations from Adam and Noach, and another 10 Pirkei Avos. I think it's a Perek Hey Mishnah Aleph. I think it's all the 10s there. Then you have, I think Ches. Then you have 10 generations, 1,000 years between Adam, between Noach and Avraham. In other words, this rings you the bell. We are talking about Truma here. Reshis Hagez. Reshis Hagez. What is Reshis Hagez? When you have animals, all the animal born on that year, you have to make them walk through a small passage in a fence, and always the 10th you have to take Asiri Kodesh. The 10th is Kodesh, and it has to be given to Hashem. First was Adam Arishan. The 10th was Noach. It was Kodesh, but he fell in repairing when he drank wine, he fell from repairing the chet of Chet Zadas. The next one is Avraham. And here is Avraham Avinu at the task of correcting the chet of Eitz Hadas, and we will prove it beyond. All these questions I asked you will be answered in a way that doesn't leave any shadow of a doubt whatsoever. We would even ask, why didn't we understand that in the first place? I want to go back to the second question we have asked. In all these, I want to show you these. In all these 10, where is Sarah not having children, Abraham and Sarah not having children? The Gemara says in Yevamis, not only they didn't have children, they were born tumtum. Tumtum means they had a skin on the genitals. So we didn't know if they were male or female. Only before they got married, He broke. Abraham was a male, Sarah was a female. The level of hardship he went through, we look at him and say, it's tremendous. Now they have no children, which is not only they were tumtum before, so let them a little bit enjoy life and have children. No, they don't have children. It's not, and it's not part, it's not even a test. So why didn't they have children? Here starts the rebuilding of Adam Arishon of the Jewish nation. We have the Etz Chaim in the center of the Gan Eden. Etz Chaim is the Torah. The neshamas of Bnei Israel are within the tree. Our own neshamas all come from the Etz Chaim and so forth. When Adam Arishon ate from the next tree over, automatically some of the neshamas got lost. They couldn't get attached anymore. The blast of the chet, some neshamas flew out of the Etz Chaim and could not be attached. By the way, I just want you to know, don't take my language as a blame on Adam Arishon. We explained last week that it was done purposely, and through the Zohar and through the Midrashim, he could have eaten another fruit together. Had he wanted to eat the Eitz Hadas and just for its taste or for whatever, he could have eaten it. The only issue was to eat it alone. So let's take a chill here and understand that Adam Arishon had a purpose, because he foresaw, he was seeing from one side of the world to the other. He knew that the world would have not been able to carry on had he not done that. And so did Chava. So here, let's go back to Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, which are the neshamas that we had lost? The one on the outer. Which one are the one on the outer? The neshamas of the Gerim. So all these years, says the Zohar HaKadosh, all these years that Avraham and Sarah were intimate, they were creating the nefesh, the nefashes for the Gerim that would come later. That's why we call a Ger ben Avram, ben Sarah. We don't say ben Yitzchak, we don't say ben Yaakov. Yaakov is the father of the Shvatim. No, it's Avram, because Avram created, is the true father. Sarah is the true mother. Amazing, this Zohar. And that's the reason they're always called after Avram and Sarah. In other words, the reason, we're starting understanding a little bit now, seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, that the reason that it's not considered an Nisayan, it's not because, it was a difficulty due to an Nisayan HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to test him. It was because of the Chet Etz Adas, this one. It had nothing to do with the 10. Let me show you something. How do I go again there? Here we go. If we take the pasuk, Vatehi Sarai Akara. Sarai was barren. Ein la valad. She had no children. Someone barren that has children? No, right? So what he means, en la valad? Akara, we know what he means. You can't have children. It means you have no children, right? Right. So why is this repetition over here? If I would take this, Okay, I forgot what it was, the number. I don't want to recalculate. Vatehi Sara Yakara equals 1,307 exactly, equals Vatikach mi perioi vatoich. What exactly as it says in the pasuk, and it's exactly amount for amount here. The reason Sarai was Akara, it's because she was correcting the chet of Chava. And that's the reason she had no children. Nothing to do with the test that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was testing Avraham. And this was a totally different test. This test was to correct the Shechina, to correct all what the sin had done in the upper worlds. This was, they took it upon themselves to correct it, and this was the way to correct it. First, they had to go rebuild the worlds from the bottom all the way up. And they started with the Gerim, and they started rebuilding all the Eitz HaChaim, as we're gonna see. As we're gonna see. The Zohar, very, very interestingly, not to say the word weird, because it's not a nice word to associate with the Zohar, Kodesh, but mind-boggling is correct, the correct word. He says, you know what, let me explain you the pasuk of Lech Lecha Me'atzecha Mimeilatecha. And he says, you know, I should have copied that pasuk because this is very important pasuk. How do I do that now? Let me go back here. 16 and it's on 14. Copy. Okay. So let's go share again the page here. And this is going to start unveiling the whole Indian. He says, a pasuk in Yeshaya, Shimu Elai Abir Elev. Listen to me, people with a brazen heart. Abirim usually is Malachim. E Abir Elev, Harechoikim Mitzedaka. Those who turn their head away from tzedakah. Explain the Zohar HaKadosh. What are these people? These are people, basically, you know, we've seen that in the Torah quite a few times. We've seen it in Parshas Azinu, Vaishman Yeshurun Vaivat. When a person starts to become wealthy and comfortable, this is when he starts kicking the can. We've seen it in Parshas Ekev. I did it with my might and my strength. No, that's exactly what not to do as a Ben Israel. Stay away. A person who does this is considered a brazen heart. That's how it's considered. And it's considered turning away from tzedakah. What is tzedakah? Asked the Zohar. He says, tzedakah is a nickname for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because he's always giving to others. So he is himself the very image of tzedakah. So when a person does chesed down here, he's not doing anything else than mimicking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the benefit of it? Getting closer to Hashem. A person that does chesed, he is receiving, we spoke a little bit about it last week, he's receiving a greater reward than whatever he gave to someone else. He's getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What happens if you get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Automatically, like Avraham Avinu, you're getting all the brachas. You're getting all the brachas, you're under the light. You're not affected by the darkness and by the evil forces. And then as the Zohar, that person also, since he has tzedakah, he also has shalom, peace. Why? I don't want to go into the Indian or show you again the spheres in this. I don't want to go sideways, but very, in a nutshell, the olam of the Torah, the Eitz HaChaim, what we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the Tiferes. In the center, Keser, Tiferes, Malchus, Yesod Malchus. So we have the Tiferes, which is considered the Vav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and under it the Yesod, which is Shalom against Yosef HaTzadik. That's why it's called Tzadik, because the Yesod is called Tzadik, whatever. So these are the two midas a person gets, the reward a person gets when he does chesed. Says Avraham Avinu, I would innovate. I'm going to start making a Torah's chesed. We know Torah, we know chesed, but now I'm going to combine them. And this is what I'm going to teach the people. And this was catching fire. When people were hearing about the Torah's chesed, what it is and what it provides, people were coming and by flow to Avraham Avinu. However, the Gemara says this Gemara is in Shabbos, Nedarim Lamed Beis. Nedarim Lamed Beis, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Avraham and told him, at the end of the Parasha, he was going to change him in the name, Avraham said, there's two versions of what happened. One version in Nedarim, one version in Shabbos. I don't want to go into how I answer the Gemara, so whatever, why two versions. I just want to point something very simple. What the Gemara says, and take it, to the next, to our next stop. The Gemara says there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, His halech lefanai, walk before me, vehiye samim, and be simple. Don't question. Accept. Avram panicked at this moment. He said, maybe I did something wrong. What do you mean you did something wrong? You innovated. We had Torah, we had Chesed, maybe we was not supposed to combine them. And then the Gemara says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Ve'etna berisi beini uveinecha. The Gemara says, Niskarer adatu. He calmed down, he understood he had not made any mistake. What's the pshat in this Gemara? Hashem tells you something which has nothing to do with the next thing. Go before me, walk before me, and be simple. And I will give, and Avram panics on the first saying of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and rejoiced after the second one, stating he was not wrong. What happened here? It's also something we need to answer in order to understand what duty or what path did Avraham Avinu open for us at the sweat of his forehead, with all the difficulties and problems that he lived through all his life, were to open that road for us. You know, I'm going to open, again, a little bracket here, because I think it's important to mention that. Reb Chaim Vital writes that the Ari HaKodesh told him, why was he zoiche to such a Torah which was inhuman to even not comprehend it, but even remember it in the human mind? It was not human. And the Ari HaKodesh told him because he was saying Birkas HaTorah besimcha. Wow, what such a great reward for such a small price. Very small price. You say Birkas HaTorah besimcha, you understanding Torah to a level like the Ari HaKodesh, we should rejoice and do it because we're going to understand. Not only this, Chafetz Chaim right. All the functions of the inner organs depend on one bracha. Asher Yatzar. A person who says Asher Yatzar bekavana muftach loy. We're not talking about a hiji-biji, a nice thing, you know, a guy that makes a video and goes through WhatsApp and tells you the next drama on in the world. No. This is the Chafetz Chaim Bichvoido Be'atzmoi, and it's written in tens of Sfarim beforehand. A person who has an inner organ that is touched or sick or whatever, right away he points to the bracha b'shayas. If a person takes upon himself, is maftiach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that from now on, Asher Yatzar will be like the Shemona Esrei for him, he will be cured. We are not like the doctors in this world. We heal people from the outside in. No. The Ari HaKodesh wrote, the nefesh gets sick, then the body gets sick. How does the nefesh get sick? Because we don't say the brachas. It says, the Ari HaKodesh brings someone who wants chokhmah. You want a little story? Very short, I'll give it to you. The Maram Shik, Chuvas, Shurim, the Maram Shik writes about himself. When I was young, I could not understand the Gemara. And I was repeating my Gemara. I was not smart. He was the great of his generation. To the point, in his older age, he lost the sight, became totally blind. And he was saying Gemara, Rashi and Tosfos with all the word for word without making any mistake. This Talmidim testified, never making a mistake in the Lashon, neither of the Gemara, neither of the Rishonim, and he was blind, and he was not blessed with a great mind at birth. What is the trick? Oh, it's a shemus. No, you don't say shemus. When you say atachoinen in the Shemona Esrei, think atachoinen. Well, as the Gemara say, if you want chokhmah, praise to the one who gives chokhmah. If you need parnasa in Baruch Aleinu, pray to the one who gives parnasa. There's no such a thing as HaKadosh Baruch Hu not answering a tefillah that comes from the real bottom of the heart of a person. There's no such a thing. Closing the bracket here. We see that, I mean, once we do something, that's why it's called, we say Ahava Rabbah in the morning. Ahava Rabbah goes on Avraham Avinu, that everything that he was doing, he was not doing only with love or with simcha, the Zohar says, with a tremendous simcha. Oh, he was a tumtum. Oh, he didn't have children. Oh, you can count and pile up the problems he had. Nebuch. He was 23 years in jail. He could have been disturbed up there. No, because for him, this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is requesting from him in any situation. Hashem is with me, and I need to act and do my avodah here. This is an opportunity to do my avodah. And this is why he became the new father, the new first man, as we're going to go in now, in the nation. Avraham Avinu innovated. The Ramban HaKadosh says in this week Parasha. Actually, it's at the end of Parashat Noach, and almost word for word, Rabbeinu Bar Chaya brings down. Do you think the greatness of Avraham Avinu was because he kept the whole Torah? He says probably through the generations, there was a tzaddik that kept the Torah, the whole Torah. Avraham Avinu was not great for this. That's not his greatness. And on top of it, he's asking a question, because if you make him great for this, then you're going against a klal in the Torah. We say, Gadol ha-metzube ve'oiseh, is greater the person that is ordered to do and he does, versus the one that is not ordered and he does. Avraham Avinu didn't receive the Torah yet, and he was doing it. If you're telling me his whole kavod, his whole greatness comes from him accomplishing the Torah, then you're going against this klal. It's not possible. He says, what is this? So what is the greatness of Avraham Avinu? It's Torah's chesed. He was not only learning Torah, he was not only, secluded and keeping Torah for himself, only learning Torah like this. He was learning Torah and doing chesed. Don't want to go into again sideway on. It's proven in the pasuk in Mishlei this that someone who learns Torah and he thinks by taking every second and not going out doing chesed and using the Malbim brings on the Oirach Tzadikim Ke'or Noiga that HaKadosh Baruch Hu prefers. The Ramban says it also a little bit earlier in Parashat Noach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu prefers the mundane act of a tzaddik rather than the Torah, what he calls a rasha, because he does it robotically, like an automat. A mundane act, eating of it, because when he eats, he's always connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he's never disconnected from the Torah, and everything he does, even outside and whatever, is helping. It's Torah's chesed. Torah's chesed has become, after Avraham Avinu, this is the big revelation that Torah alone, no, the Ramban said it. Torah with chesed is the key to everything. Let's go on the answering road of this and proving everything we have said in the words right now. I'm going to go on to the greater than the promise of the redemption of the Geula Shlema we don't have. So in this pasuk, we should be able to find the end and the beginning. So the beginning being Avram, the end being the redemption, the Geula Shlema. Then we need to find these words in that pasuk. It says, Tzion b'mishpati pade. Yerushalayim will be redeemed when people among themselves, they will do tzedek, they will be just, they will be honest, they will be emes. Emes is the right word here. But veshaveha bitzdaka. The kibbutz galuyos will happen when people do chesed among each other. I must mention this, Tana de Belio, another one. The first one was in Perek Chaf Hey, was actually Tana de Belio Zuta, Perek Chaf Hey. This one is Tana de Belio Rabba, Perek Chaf Gimel. So, person came to Eliyahu Navi, says, you know what? These later generations, they are much greater than the previous generations. Why? Because the previous generations, they only had the 5 books of the Torah. How much can they learn? How much can they do? The later generation, they have Torah, Nevi'im, Ksuvim, and the Mishnah, with the people of the Mishnah and everything. This is Torah. This is greatness. This is how you elevate yourself. You feel elevated up there in Shamayim into the Atzilus. Eliyahu Navi told him, one mitzvah of the Dora Midbar that only had 5 books supersedes all the Torah of all the generations after. What have they done? They made an alliance amongst themselves. Anyone who needs any help, they all promise to help each other. He says that mitzvah to the ayahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is far greater than anything you mentioned. In other words, the pilpul, the this, the that, great. But it doesn't come to the ankles of being committed to the chesed. And especially when you add to your Torah some chesed, you find ways to help. Each one can find a way to help. At that time, you enter the realm of Avraham Avinu and you're into Torah's chesed. And this is what it says in the pasuk here. If you put, let's say, we say Torah and Tzedakah together, I'm going to write it down. I don't know how far I'm going to reach, but I'm trying my best. Torah and Tzedakah equals 110. Very well-known gematria in terms of, don't want to go there. But it calls Shechina HaKdoisha. This is how you connected to the Shekhinah. Torah alone can fight Surmira. You can fight. Torah equals 611. Equals, you know these names. Don't want to say them. As the two together, the 2 serpents, male and female. So Torah protects you from there, but Torah doesn't have the koyach to put you into the Shechina. Ze ashar Lashem tzadikim yavo uvoy. Who are the tzadikim? Those people. The Shechina opens you the gate. Besides, what it saves you from the Pelishtim, it says, Yoshve Peloshes. Peleshes is one of the biggest clippers on the other side, equals 810. But, it's not for our share today. This is what we've learned from Avraham Avinu, and we're going to go into, right now, just answering the last questions. I have time for this. So we said we have Torah's Chesed. What is Torah's Chesed? Equals 178. I want to know what it does. Oh, what it does. Okay. Those who learn the kavanas of the lulav know already what I'm writing. I wrote it all. Basically, all the names of the 10 spheres, all of them. We're not missing one. 1078 for 1078. In Mitzrayim is Hashem Tzevakos that went out for the 10 Nisim of Mitzrayim. Now, do you understand what you're doing with Torah's Chesed? Yud Ke Ka, the three went on the Lula, right? To draw. Yud Ke Vav Ke, Chachma, Bina, in Chesed. I mean, all the armies that maybe they're going to be needed for the end of times, I don't know. But this is a tremendous power. You have to know there are three forms of light that were given in Parshas Bereshis, and the Pasuk calls them like this. The first two psukim say Yehi Oyer, Vayhi. So the two first time is Yehi Oyer, Vayhi Oyer. So Oyer, they say Vayamekim La Oyer. It's not written or. So anything that's written with or at this time, you have to take it. Then it says twice, es ha-oyer ki toiv, ha-oyer, ha-oyer. Usually equals 1075, which equals to Yisrael in full. Yud, Shin, Reish, Aleph, Lamed. This is the vessel HaKadosh Baruch Hu created for all this light that was from Ma'aseh Bereshis. When a person is in Yisrael, and he's a Ben Yisrael, he's a son of Abraham Avinu, he's Mekayim Teres Chesed, because now one type of light, second type of light, three type. Now you add me the three type of lights on the 1075 equals 1078. Teres Chesed access Oyer Ein Sof. All the Oyer Haganus for sure, but the Oyer Ein Sof. So this is what it does when we accessing Teres Chesed. I'm gonna answer you now the question we asked. The first question on I don't have time to go into this. Okay. So we had here in the wrong order, Molatecha, you know, and the whole 9 yards, Artsecha, Molatecha, and Beis Avicha, right? Let me see if I can copy it from one page. It's on page 16. Let me copy it. I don't have to write it. Page 16, 14, 15, 16. I thought I could have gone. I had time to even go individually in each one, because now I'm going to take them as a block rather than answering the question as individually, but we would have seen more from Abraham Avinu. Here equals 1256. Equals the pasuk we have in Kisavo, Reishis Peria Adama. He became, with his avodah and correcting the Chet Etzadas, which he did, he became a Reishis. We said before, what is that? This means now he had equals 4 times Shakai. On all the side, he has removed the shmutz of the chet. All the chitzonim that were holding onto the Shechina, on the neshamas of Bnei Yisrael, they moved, and he put around them, around the Etz HaChaim to protect it, 4 times Shakai. That's what he did. Now, once you have the name Shakai around this, nobody can approach. Nobody can approach. 1256 also equals Va'eskores Berisi. The very bris that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made in Bris Beis HaBesarim before the Lech Lecha, 5 years before the Lech Lecha, the Midrash says HaKadosh Baruch Hu flew him over there. So Bepashtus, you can say, Avraham didn't know where he was because he was flown over exactly like the Bnei Yisrael when they had to do Korban Pesach. They were flown over to Har Moriah with the Anan. Va'esa eschem al kanfei nesharim, and I picked you up upon wings of eagles. Says the Targum Yonasan, he took them with the Ananim from, because it's also anyone who does Korban Pesach outside from the walls of Yerushalayim is Chayav Misa. From the Beis Hamikdash is Chayav Misa. So how could have done the Korban Pesach in there? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu flown them. But now we found a source. The Midrash Rabbah, Parasha Lamed Beis, Lamed Siman Beis, says that they were flown over there. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now we understand here what he would equal to this. Va'eskores Berisi means now HaKadosh Baruch Hu before Lech Lecha remembers that he has an obligation to take Avraham there. And look what it is. You remember that. This is the Sar of Olam HaAsiyah. This is the Sar of Olam HaBeriyah. This is Olam HaAsiyah, Olam HaYetzirah, Olam HaBeriyah. Yoshev Beseiser Elyon, Beseiser Gematria, the name of this Malach. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to appear in the lower world, Kishemi Bekirbo, he goes into this, I don't know if it's called Malach or whatever. Remember, we have it somewhere here. So this is where Avraham arrived. He corrected Asiya, where everything is done. Me'atzecha. Atzecha is your land in this world. Moilatecha, where you were created. This is what the pasuk hints. The Yetzirah is where you were thinking. And now Beis Avicha is where you are, is the ken, is the nest, is Olam HaBeriyah. Not that he was comfortable, Avraham Avinu, and he reached Olam HaBeriyah, he wanted to take a rest. He says, no. It's time to go to Eretz Yisrael. We have to prepare for Yitzchak. What is Yitzchak? Oila Temima. And there's no, we're not going to have time to talk about Yitzchak. But I want to prove it just if you give me 1 minute, I want to prove it a different way, that what we just said is exactly what happened. If we take Artzecha by itself, equals 311, equals Ish, became a man, equals Ma, and this is what I'm more interested on. The 4 yesoidos a person is made of is Esh, Ruach, Mayim, Afar. He corrected the 4 of Adam HaRishon. Now he has a standing. Not even up there, the Etz Chaim has a standing. All the 4 basic elements of life were corrected. If we take the second one, Moila Techa, equals 500, equals Peru Uruvu. Means now that you complete, go there, and this is going to be your mission. You have to have children. Means it's in the right order. This third one here, which is tremendous, I'm not going to go into the Shemesh because really it's more Beis Avicha. It's July 4th, but where's Beis Avicha here? We're going to take Beis Avicha simply. And if you think you're finished, it's not finished, because you have to go to Eretz Yisrael and prepare the land for being able to be a home for the Shekhinah. And Beis Avicha is going to be there. That's going to be the house of your father, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And there you're going to have to do Achdus Hashem with Yitzchak. And that's the reason. So he never told him to go. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew he left Haran. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew he was not there anymore. We were talking on a much higher degree. He was giving him a mission. I can explain exactly what happened with Yitzchak and why Yitzchak and how was he hinted here. But I think we're going to go a little bit off topic, and there's no reason for it. So if I should even add more, but the message from Avraham Avinu here, what do we have to take? We all have needs. We all have problems. There is no human that has no problems. But we have to look at them clearly and decide, what do I have to do to correct this problem? I know it's a problem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to think, the little voice of the Satan is going to say, nah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs, refuah, you need this, you need panasa. Hey, your davening is not going to be worth. Not true. Not true. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is rachum v'chanun. Your mazel is noitzer chesed lo alafim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates. Oh, there's no chesed in Shamayim for you because you don't deserve. Don't worry, I'm going to create a new chesed for you. This is the yesod of noitzer chesed, meaning there's nothing for you available because you're such a rasha, you're such a miscreant, wicked person. I'm going to create it for you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do it for anyone, and he will answer in any situation. Don't let anyone tell you it's impossible. Don't let anyone tell you about your children that they are stupid or they can understand, they can follow the shir or whatever. Take your siddur and use the magic of the words of Shmoneh Esrei, because at that moment, you're doing a tremendous chesed from elevating the Shekhinah back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu so you can be in union with the Shekhinah. At that time is the time to demand anything you want. If you post, forget about the world that's around you. Forget that people have to rush. We have to finish Shachris, take off the tefillin. You think, I want a coffee, I want this. I'm busy in my life. No. The world has stopped for you. And you say, Hashem, it's you and I. This is my moment of truth. And I'm speaking to you from the bottom of my heart. I need your help. I will do better. I will try to improve. I don't want to lie, but I will be on the path to improve. I will be on the path to Avraham Avinu. I know now what I have to do. I have to do Torah's Chesed, and I'm committed to do Torah's Chesed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will answer you without any delay. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu, Amen ve'amen.